that work? Trying to get this pose down for a certain famous footballer slash model, and I'm trying to have a little different look at the face. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to draw this portrait, and I'm trying to really break down the face in certain shapes. Some of them work, some of them don't, as you will see at the very end. But I've always found like the hardest thing, like there are certain blind spots in my mind when it comes to drawing portraits, and one of them is that I always, like, I go for the frown, the scowl, and the eyes, and that all seems to work out okay, but then I always tend to take up too much space for the nose. So there's never enough space left here for the mouth. And in my mind, they're all bigger than they actually are. So one thing I've learned to keep in mind when drawing portraits is the help lines that they always put in those how to draw portrait books are actually very helpful. They're very helpful for breaking down the shapes, and once I kind of break down the shapes, whether it's in my mind or on the actual paper by drawing those help lines, I force myself to stay within those blocks, if you will. And what I've noticed ever since I started doing that, the face becomes more realistic and makes more sense. And I get faster because of it, because I spend less time looking and thinking, and it's like, no, it's over here, that's where the eyes are, and within this space, that's where the mouth is, and it just kind of cuts down on an awful lot of pondering, if you will. I really like the look of Mr. David Beckham in this picture. Like, it's a nice black and white picture. There's a lot of nice lines. And another thing I'm gonna have to start, besides the perennial quest to draw a cool looking hair, another thing I need to kind of think about is when I draw in this comic booky style, it doesn't actually help me draw in a comic booky style. And what I mean by that is it would be a lot more, I mean, it's one thing to just have fun drawing, but it would be a lot more helpful, I found recently, if I just kind of fill in the grays like you would in a pencil drawing. And if I just, like, basically fill in light and dark. Let's move over here for a second. So this drawing, as it's being completed, will end up looking very much like a comic book drawing. Like, you can see where it's going. But what I'm saying is, by making it a grayscale drawing and by penciling in light and dark and where the light source is, when it comes to finishing up the drawing in tight pencils or even inks, I've found recently that that is actually a lot more helpful to getting it right correctly. Or a different way of putting it, when I focus on 2D line art from the start, there's a reason that the lines are a certain way in good looking pieces. And the reason behind it is what is behind, not behind the drawing, but is all the underlying information that those lines will convey about light and shadow and underlying form. Like, that's the reason why they are there, and not in my, like, when I started drawing, a lot of those lines and the way I drew them was because of copying other artists, and worse, because I was just trying to make cool art and like cool lines, and forgetting that the reason those lines should be there is because, you know, to convey something, to convey form. Yeah. So that's kind of my little ramble here on drawing. So I hope you enjoy this little piece I'm working on. I'm gonna finishing it up. I'm gonna fill in the grayscale, and I'll see you in the inking stage. While I'm continuing this drawing as a time lapse, there was quite a bit of a break, and I wouldn't want to lose your attention or want you to skip forward, even though if you want to, I can't stop you. No one will ever know. Don't worry. You don't have to tell me. But I thought I'd give you a quick update to what I am planning to do with this series. My SketchDoodleDraw series was my first foray into making videos, proper ones, proper time lapses. It was something I'd been wanting to do for a long time, and to kind of ease me into editing in iMovie, seeing what works camera-wise, noticing a lot of twitches I have with my hand, you know, all the fun stuff as you get more and more accustomed to talking and being on camera. This series kind of grinded to a halt last October. I think the last one I made was of John Boyega in anticipation of that new Star Wars movie, and I switched it up a little bit, making minis. So there's like a good 8 minis for you to watch as well if you'd like. Because a lot of my non-artist friends started complaining that my videos were too long, and they just didn't have the time to sit through me drawing for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes and talking about it. And I think that's totally understandable, but I do enjoy watching and listening artists do their thing. And so this is my long form SketchDoodleDraw episode. And I hope to make a lot more of them as I now have more time to get back into the swing of things, instead of only barely having time to work on my comic book. This is all going to change. There's been some big choices I had to make, which involved quitting my job, moving house, all that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in my day 75 video of my 100 days of making comics. If you haven't been watching any of those, I'd love for you to watch those, because I'm very passionate about my personal comic book project as it is taking shape, and I am now in full control of my schedule, and I hope to make some real progress in the next 25 days as I march onwards towards day 100. So I hope you stick around till the end of this video. I'm quite pleased with how this drawing came out. I'm gonna hang up soon because I don't want to repeat myself. There's a little bit more talking at the end of this video as well. I thought I'd just kind of bridge the gap in between, but there's a lot of silence. Silence is scary. So yes, you can find me as Anamalie on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram if you want to keep up to date with my art. I also tweet a lot under my regular name. I'll put some links down below, and there will be some shout outs at the end. So if you're an artist and you know I follow you, who knows, it might be you. Catch you guys later. So here we are with my little David Beckham drawing, and it came out quite okay, no? It got very messy, especially the hair, and I realized I needed to define the shapes a lot better. And I just, there was also a lot of shadow that I saw in the pencil and then just kind of forgot about inking. So I had probably like another half an hour go, which makes the total for this piece, judging by my clips, at about 50 minutes, I'd say. I'm quite pleased at how it came out. I'm still not, like, it looks like he's got sideburns and it's supposed to be a shadow. There's still bits where I want to complain. I think that jacket or whatever it is he's wearing, the shapes were a bit odd, like the way they folded. And so that is what I drew, odd shapes. But I need to get some proper art supplies because being without all of my supplies, I'm just making do with the pens I find around the house here. And I find like a lot of these lines, like I just spend so much time scratching the paper to get it, to fill it up with the ballpoint pen I had. And if I had my thicker brush pens, you know, it would have been seconds. I also feel like this over here is cool, but it should have been a thinner line, even thinner still. I still want to draw too much that should be colored, or maybe the way I want to get the grays out, you know, I just have to get better at it. Overall, this SketchDoodleDraw came out quite alright. I hope you guys like it. In case you're new to my channel, I'm Jan. My channel is Anamalie because it's a little easier to remember than my actual name. And since I have a bit more time to make videos and to draw again, I am going to pick up where I left off for my SketchDoodleDraw series. There's a lot of art I've made to warm up for my comic book. I hope you check out that series. It's my 100 days of making comics, where every day I find a little bit of time here and there, hopefully a lot more time now that I'm living in Spain, to work on my own personal comic book project. And these little warm-ups are to improve my art and to get my style ready for the finished comic book pages. I hope you check out both. Please subscribe, like if you like these videos, and I'll see you on day 75 of my 100 days of making comics.